Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, released back in 2007, was received generally well by critics and fans alike, with director David Yates coming on board, as he would go on to direct the rest of the movies in the series from Phoenix onwards. Personally, I had several issues with this movie as someone who's read the second half of the books in the series. Order of the Phoenix is known particularly in the series to be the longest of the 7 Harry Potter books, which ironically made the movie cut out a lot of scenes from the book that I wanted to see, but never got to visualize on screen. Many of these moments translate to the movie tie-in video game, Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, which was just the first game in the series to be released on the 7th generation of gaming consoles, which includes the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3. EA Brightlight took the criticism of the terrible Goblet of Fire video game to heart, and went out of their way to forge an experience that was fresh. Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, the game, is the complete opposite of Goblet of Fire in one major area where that game failed, and that's linearity. Order of the Phoenix is not a linear game, and it's actually one of the longer games in the series, but not by a long stretch. Adding up my recording sessions together, the game clocks in at just over 6 hours in length, although it's possible to complete it in well under that time. So despite that the game is listed as 10 hours in length online, that information is actually false. This is a short game like the other Harry Potter movie tie-ins, but its length is actually questionable due to the content that's involved, but I'll get to that. Like in previous games, you play as Harry Potter exclusively, but unlike Prisoner of Azkaban and Goblet of Fire, Ron and Hermione are not playable characters this time around, although they do accompany you throughout the entire length of the runtime, serving as quest reminders in moments where the player has forgotten what they're supposed to do next. I will also give points for the creative navigation system, which utilizes the Marauder's map, complete with footprints that act as a visual tracking system in-game, leading the player to their next chosen destination. A brilliant idea. Regarding the castle itself, EA did something unique here for a movie tie-in. The game developers actually visited the set of the movie and recreated Hogwarts as it exists in the film, in the game. They also took head scans of the actors and inserted their models in the game, and got several members from the cast to voice their respective characters in the game. While the latter was definitely a step in the right direction, the former actually presents a big problem. While it's great to see and explore Hogwarts as it exists in the movies for the very first time in the series, for a video game, it's actually the point of no return. The novelty of exploring Hogwarts as it appears in the films in video game form is great at first, especially since they got the rights to use the music from the movies as well, so you actually feel like you're a part of the Harry Potter world. Nevertheless, this novelty wears off quickly within the first 2 hours of the game, as once you've explored most of the major areas of the castle, you soon realize that there's barely anything here in terms of content, and the level design is rather uncreative, if I had to apply a word to it. Because the game developers recreated the movie set as it appears in the movie, doing that actually takes away from any potential creativity with the level design. The game as a result feels less like a video game and more like an interactive theme park that gets boring rather quickly. Fortunately, there are NPCs in the form of other Hogwarts students to keep the world from feeling unpopulated, and the game is short enough to where it doesn't wear out as welcome, but as a whole, the level design forces this feeling that bleeds laziness on the behalf of the development team. This wouldn't be such a big problem if there were other levels thrown in the game to make it feel like an actual game and not a piece of promotional material for the movie. But no, there are zero attempts from EA Brightlight to create content that feels meaningful. Literally everything you do in the game is a fetch quest of some sort, with the task of hunting down Dumbledore's army members taking up most of the time. Nothing in the game regarding the actual task or quest, if you want to call them that, feels relevant. It's a shame given the game's potential to be something greater. What's worse is that the game takes after the movie in areas where it shouldn't. For example, the fictional popular Harry Potter sport Quidditch, which has been missing for 2 games now, also doesn't return here, just like how Quidditch was missing in the movie, despite the fact that there are scenes in the original novel from J.K. Rowling depicting Quidditch in the story. This was just blatant stupidity on the behalf of the development team. To make matters more egregious, instead of making entire levels out of the smaller moments, which is what happened with the first 3 games in the series, the developers instead opted to skim over these moments through quick cutscenes. The only thing this accomplishes is making the game as a whole feel like a hands-off experience. And the important moments that you do get to play are ruined by a clunky and unintuitive combat system that has you spamming spells to the point where there's just a big light show on screen whenever the game throws you in a combat scenario, which is always scripted, funnily enough. These include moments just before the death of Sirius Black,
Foolish of you to come here tonight, Tom. The orders are on their way.
Shall be dead.
Harry! It was foolish of you to come here, Tom. The orders are on their way.
By which time I shall be gone, and you dead.
Dumbledore! The orders will be here soon.
and even worse, the epic fight between Dumbledore and Voldemort, which in the game, this fight is literally nothing but more powerful versions of spells you've been using throughout the entire experience. The game does this fight between the two strongest Harry Potter characters no justice whatsoever. This is just another moment where the movie destroys the game on every level. Now, even after you complete the main story, there's plenty of activities to engage in after it's all said and done with. But because none of the activities in the game feel meaningful, there's actually no point to pursue any further investment with the game once the end game credits start rolling. At its conclusion, Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix is a half-baked experience. While it's the first game in the series to give a true, genuine experience reflective of the movies, it comes at a high cost of creativity on the behalf of the development team, and gives the player no reason to truly be invested, even for the most die-hard of fans. Regrettably, EA didn't learn a lesson from this and released some more bullshit with the next game in the series, which I will save for the next video.